Well, hello friends, I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you were in the house of God worshiping with us because man, we had a great service in the house of the Lord yesterday. I mean, God just came in and moved so mightily yesterday morning. We had a great time of praise and prayer and just saw God do some amazing things. It was a great way to start off this week because I believe Sunday ought to be what sets the tone for your whole week. So if that's going to set the tone, man, then God has something great in store for us this coming week. Well, hey, welcome to Monday's edition of Take 5. And this week we're going to be breaking down the message that I preached yesterday called Forgetful and Fruitful. We're still talking about the life of Joseph, and I was originally going to tie all of that together and talk about forgetful and fruitful in the same day, and that just didn't happen. It didn't work out. So all we're going to talk about is forgetful. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned it to you and made reference it to you, but now I just want to go in a little more depth with it, and let's talk about it this week. So hey, let me read to you from Genesis 41, and then we will just kind of get going in this for this week. Genesis 41 says, Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went through all the land of Egypt. During the 7 plentiful years, the earth produced abundantly, and he gathered up all the food of these 7 years, which occurred in the land of Egypt, and put the food in cities. He put in every city the food from fields around it. And Joseph stored up grain in abundance like the sand of the sea until he ceased to measure it, for it could not be measured. Before the year of the famine came, 2 sons were born to Joseph. Asenath, the daughter of Pharaoh, priest of On, bore them to him. Joseph called the name of the first son Manasseh, meaning, "For God has made me forget all my hardship in all my father's house." The name of the second son he called Ephraim, meaning, "God has made me fruitful in the land of my affliction." And from that, we get the title, Forgetful and Fruitful. Now, after all the perplexity with his brothers and the pit and being sold into slavery and trafficked that way, and all of the lies and the prison and the people that forgot him, Joseph finally sees fulfillment of his dream because God was with him every step of the way. In the land where he was supposed to be captive, God made him a successful prime minister over the whole region of the land. He married a wife, they have 2 sons, and he names them according to the way God has blessed them. One of them means forgetful, and the other one means fruitful. I want to deal with this week just the idea of forgetful, and I want us to try to make sure that we really grasp the meaning of this, because when you begin to compare our language to the Hebrew language, to the way we say things and the way they say things, it just didn't add up. And so when we use the word forgetful, it means something different. We use the word kind of loosely, I forgot my keys, I forgot to do this, I forgot to turn the iron off, I forgot to let the dog out, this type of stuff. It's something that we do that's unintentional when we use the word. But the word forgetful, when used from the Hebrew language, is actually a very proactive term. It's something we do not do haphazardly. It is something that we absolutely do on purpose. We mean to do it, and we do it with diligence. So here are the definitions for forget from the Hebrews, the way the Hebrews understand it. Number 1, to disregard intentionally. That means I forsake that thing. I disregard it and I did it on purpose, not accidentally. Number 2, to purposefully put something behind you. Number 3, having memories of the past events but not bound by their restraints. Do you see the difference there? I still have memories of the past, but I'm not bound by their restraints. Now, I wish we could really forget everything from our past. I really wish we could erase the hard times and the people that hurt us. And I wish we could do that, but we can't erase that. No one I know ever forgets a face that hurts them, or forget a conversation, or forgets a mistake that they made. It's there. It's etched in your mind. You don't get away from it. So forgetting doesn't mean erasing those things so it's like it never happened. Forgetting means I'm not bound by the restraints of those things. I remember them. I know that what happened. I know what I did. I know what they did to me, but I'm not bound by the restraints of those things. It's not going to hinder my future. This form of forgetting doesn't mean that we erase something. It simply means that I no longer desire it, I no longer want it, and it no longer controls me. That's what we have to do when we get saved. We have to forget about that old guy, that old man that we were, because if any man's in Christ, he's a new creation. Old things are passed away and all things have become new. And I have to forget that. I have to put that behind me. This word forgetting from the Hebrew carries with it the same definition as the word forsake. And the word forsake means to acknowledge the past while turning from it and having no intention of going back. Now that's what forgetting's all about. It doesn't mean that I erase it from my mind. It doesn't mean that I won't ever see that person's face again, or I won't ever remember that sin that I committed or that mistake that I made. Or it doesn't mean that. It just means that I have put it behind me and I'm not going to let it control my destiny. That's what Joseph did. Joseph very easily could have allowed his past hurt and the pain that he endured, he could have allowed that to control his destiny, but he didn't. He put his focus on something greater and something better. He set his focus on the palace instead of on his pain, and that's how he was able to put it all behind him. You know, if you keep looking back, your future is going to be determined by your past, and that's not God's intention. There shouldn't be rearview mirrors in our walk with God. The windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror for a reason, my friend. You need to look forward and not be looking backwards all the time. So this week, I want to talk to you about some things that we need to forget. Now, bear in mind, we need to keep up with the definition of forget. It's not I forgot the iron, I forgot the dog, I forgot my keys. It's not that. These are the things that we purposefully and intentionally put behind us, and we choose not to allow them to control our future. I'm going to tell you, there's quite a few things that some of us really could afford to forget. Well, hey, I got to get out of here today. Hope you have a great day. I look forward to being with you tomorrow on Tuesday's edition of Take 5. Until then, God bless you. Have a great day, my friend. Hey, let's learn to forget about some things from our past, because God's got some great stuff out in front of us that's yet to come.